Hello and welcome. This is a look at the world news from April 2025. It was a busy month around the world. Many important things happened. Changes were happening in many countries and in how countries work together. This report will tell you about some of the big stories from that time. We will look at different parts of the world and different parts of life. It is a time when many things felt different or new. First, we will talk about countries and their leaders. How did big countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, and China talk to each other? Leaders met and made plans. Some countries tried to make new agreements for trade. This means how they buy and sell things with other countries. There were also some problems between countries. Next, we look at money. Money is important for everyone. We will hear about the economy around the world. Were prices going up? Did people have jobs? Governments made decisions about money and taxes. Some of these decisions worried people and businesses. We will learn about these money problems. Then we talk about people. What was happening in different countries? Sometimes people were not happy with their governments. We will hear about protests where people asked for changes. There were also difficult situations for people in some parts of the world because of problems like war. After that, we look at our planet, Earth. Nature and the environment are very important. We will hear about changes happening to our world, things like the weather, animals, and plants. Some animals were in danger. Scientists found problems like pollution affecting people's health. We need to understand these changes to our planet. We also look at science and new ideas. Scientists made exciting discoveries. They learned new things about our bodies, about space, and about technology. There were new inventions that could change how we live and work. Science is always moving forward. Finally, we will talk about entertainment and sports. What happened in music, movies, and fun? There were big award shows. We will hear about famous singers and actors. We also look at sports news. What were the big games? Who were the best players in sports like basketball, golf, and football? This report covers many different topics from April 2025. It helps us understand the important events happening around the globe during that time. Let's start looking at these stories in more detail in the next chapters. 2. Big country news. Important countries around the world are talking to each other about big topics. The United States and the United Kingdom are discussing trade. Some leaders think there is a good chance they will make a new trade deal. This deal could help businesses in both countries sell more things easily. Making trade deals is often difficult and takes time. Leaders need to agree on many rules. This is very important for the UK because it left the European Union group of countries. Now, the UK needs to make its own agreements with big economies. Leaders in Washington and London are talking a lot to manage the world's changing money situation. The UK also wants to have strong relationships with countries in Europe. The UK leader, the Prime Minister, traveled to Germany and France. He met the German leader and the French leader. The UK and Germany decided to work together on a special agreement called a treaty. They hope to sign this treaty by early 2026. This agreement will be about working together on important things like defense and trade. Working together on defense means helping keep each other safe. Working together on trade means making it easier to buy and sell things between the countries. This shows that the UK knows it must keep good friends in Europe, even after Brexit. The UK leader wants these relationships to be practical and helpful. Meanwhile, the United States and China are competing. They are both very powerful countries. They are competing for influence in different parts of the world, especially in Africa. Influence means having power to make countries do things or make decisions that help you. Both the US and China want to be important partners for African countries. The US is trying to show that it is a better partner than China. They offer money, help build roads or buildings, and make agreements to get this influence. This competition is important for the countries in Africa. Many African countries have valuable resources like oil or metals. They must choose carefully who they work with. The US government also made changes to trade rules. It added new taxes on many goods that come from other countries. These taxes are called tariffs. The basic tax is 10% on almost all products coming into the US. This makes these products more expensive for people in America to buy. The government hopes this will make Americans buy more things made in their own country, but some countries face much higher taxes. For example, goods from China now have a very high tariff of 145%. These new taxes started on April 5th. This is a big change in US trade policy, and it could cause problems with other countries. 3. Money problems. Money was a big topic in the news this month around the world. In the United States, President Trump started new taxes on many things coming from other countries early in April. These taxes are called tariffs. The plan was to put a 10% tax on most imports, but much higher taxes on goods from some countries like China. These new taxes quickly caused problems. The US economy felt shaky, and the stock market lost a very large amount of money, about $6 trillion in just 1 week. Because of this, on April 9th, the president announced a change. He decided to pause most of the new taxes for 90 days. For many goods, the tax was lowered back to 10%. However, the very high taxes on products coming from China stayed. China quickly answered the US tariffs. It put its own new, very high taxes on products coming from the United States. This showed that the trade problems between the two big countries were continuing. These arguments about taxes created uncertainty for global trade. In the United Kingdom, many people worried about the cost of living. Prices for everyday things seem to be going up too fast. This is called inflation. The Bank of England, which manages the UK's money, said it was watching the situation closely. They were concerned that if people's pay increased too much, it could make inflation worse. Finding the right balance between wages and prices was a big challenge. The changing trade rules and new taxes also made some international businesses nervous. Leaders of big shipping companies expressed their concerns. These companies use large ships to move goods between countries. They warned that unpredictable trade rules could hurt global trade. It could make it slower, harder, and more expensive to transport products around the world. Inside the UK, the government faced different money difficulties. It was looking carefully at the money it gives to people who need help, known as benefits. There was a specific problem with carers' allowance. This is money paid to people who spend time looking after someone who is sick or has a disability. It was found that some carers had received too much money over several years by mistake. Now, the government told these people they had to pay back large amounts, sometimes thousands of pounds. This news caused stress and difficulty for many carers. These different money problems showed how connected the world's economies are. 4. People and protests. Inside different countries, people faced problems and showed they were unhappy in April 2025. In the United Kingdom, there were discussions about politics and money. Some important government leaders shared information about their taxes. They did this to show they were open and honest, but there were also political arguments. For example, one political person argued with a teachers' group. Election results also showed that many people were not happy. A new government won, but many people voted because they disliked the old government. They did not vote strongly for the new one. This is sometimes called protest voting. The government also looked into money given to people who care for sick or old family members. Some carers got too much money over many years and now have to pay it back. This caused problems for them. In Nigeria, many young people protested. They were not happy with the government and its actions. The way the government answered the protests was strong. This reaction could make people feel negatively about the government for a long time. People around the world watched how the government dealt with these protests. A very serious situation continued in Sudan. A terrible war started there 2 years ago. Experts say it is now the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Millions of people have lost their homes. They do not have enough food or basic things they need, like medicine. Groups fighting in the war make the situation worse. One group even said it had started its own government. This makes finding peace very hard. Other countries find it difficult to help everyone who needs it. France experienced attacks on its prisons. At least 7 prisons in different cities like Toulon and Marseille were attacked. The attacks seemed planned. People used fire and guns. They burned cars that belonged to people working at the prisons. At the attack locations, someone painted the letters DDPF. This might stand for a group wanting rights for prisoners in France. The police are investigating. They think maybe people selling drugs or groups with very strong left-wing ideas did it. Perhaps the attacks were a response to planned changes in the justice system. These events show that people in many places were facing difficulties and making their voices heard. 5. Our planet changes. Our world is changing, and nature feels these changes strongly. In the United Kingdom, a popular fish, the brown trout, faces serious problems. Rivers are getting warmer, especially in summer, because of climate change. Scientists believe that by the year 2080, brown trout will find it very hard to survive in most UK rivers during hot months. This is sad news for the fish, and also for people who enjoy fishing and local areas that depend on it. Our cities are also seeing changes. Warmer temperatures mean that rats find it easier to live and increase their numbers. Some experts call this a perfect rat storm. Having many more rats in urban areas creates risks for public health. This shows that climate change affects not only distant forests, but also the places where many people live. Another concern involves very small pieces of plastic, known as microplastics. These tiny pieces enter the environment and even our bodies. Scientists found these plastics inside the placentas of pregnant women. New studies suggest a connection between microplastics and babies being born too early. This is a worrying discovery about how plastic pollution can directly harm human health, even before birth. Even in remote places like the Amazon rainforest, unexpected problems appear. Reports show birds are dying in parts of the Amazon, even in areas with little human activity. Scientists are still trying to understand the exact reason. It might be linked to climate changes, new diseases, or other factors. This situation reminds us that environmental problems can affect even the wildest parts of our planet. Governments are making plans that affect the environment. In England, the government thinks about reducing land used for farming. The plan suggests using more than 10% less land for growing food or raising animals. This is a significant change. It could help wildlife, but it will also affect food production and people in rural areas. Careful planning is needed. While discussions happen nationally, some regions take their own steps. In the United States, several states are starting their own projects to fight climate change. They are not waiting for the central government. This shows that important environmental actions can begin locally. Far north, the Arctic region changes quickly as ice melts. This opens sea routes that were blocked before, like the Northwest Passage. Because of this, different countries show more interest in the Arctic. They see possibilities for new shipping routes and resources. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is also changing geography and international relations. These examples show our planet is undergoing major changes, and understanding them is important for our future. 6. New science ideas. Science and technology brought some exciting news this month. Scientists are working hard to make a new element, element 120. It will be the heaviest element known. They have a new method to make these super heavy elements. This helps us learn more about atoms. Making element 120 is an important step for science. New technology also helps look inside very small things. Scientists use fast X-rays to see tiny details inside computer chips. They can see parts as small as one transistor. This helps check if chips are made correctly and can make computers better. Computers use lots of energy. Scientists want to save energy. One idea is to use light differently inside computers. They want to use small lights called LEDs instead of lasers in computer parts. This could save a lot of energy, especially for computers using artificial intelligence, AI. Science is learning more about our brains too. Scientists are studying how the brain changes during pregnancy. They see how the brain changes to help parents get ready and care for their babies. This new information helps understand mother's health better during this time. Your nose helps protect you from getting sick. Scientists found many special immune cells inside the nose. These cells are like an army fighting germs. Learning about these cells is important. It could help scientists make better vaccines you take through your nose, like for the flu. Scientists also studied fish. Some salmon live on farms and some live wild. Researchers looked at what happens when farmed salmon mix with wild salmon. Sometimes, farmed fish escape and have babies with wild fish. This mixing might make wild salmon weaker. This study helps protect wild fish populations. Perhaps the most surprising science news is about an extinct animal. Scientists brought back the dire wolf. A company used cloning and gene editing. They took DNA from very old dire wolf bones, some 13,000 years old. They changed the DNA of living gray wolves using the old DNA. Now 3 dire wolf pups are alive. They look like the old dire wolves and share almost all DNA with gray wolves. The pups live in a safe place. People discuss if bringing back extinct animals is right, but it is a big success for science. It might also help save animals that are in danger today. 7. Fun and games. April was a busy month for entertainment and sports news. The Grammy Awards gave people lots to talk about. It was a very big night for Beyoncé. She won the Important Album of the Year award for the first time. Many people were happy for her, but it was not a winning night for Taylor Swift. She did not get any awards this time. Some new singers did very well. Chappell Roan won an award after a great year. Sabrina Carpenter won more than one award at her first Grammys show. Lady Gaga performed her new song called Abracadabra. It was a loud and exciting performance. There was also a sad moment remembering the singer Liam Payne. Alicia Keys gave a nice speech about her husband Swizz Beatz. Other famous people were in the news too. Jennifer Garner and John Miller were seen out together, which does not happen often. At the Grammys, the comedian Nikki Glaser sat near Jennifer Lopez. This was funny because Glaser made jokes about Lopez's ex-husband before. Kanye West and his wife Bianca arrived at the show in a surprising way and left at different times. Some stars brought their families, like Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz with their 2 children. In sports, basketball star Luka Doncic had a great game. He scored 45 points when he played back in Dallas. He felt very emotional during the game. LeBron James is still playing well for the Los Angeles Lakers. He was very surprised by a great play from his teammate Austin Reeves. Golf fans watched the Masters tournament. Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy were the players many expected to win. McIlroy really wants to win the Masters because it is the last big tournament he needs for a career Grand Slam. People also watched new players and how the course affected the games. Another golfer, Angel Cabrera, won a different competition called the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. In tennis news, Daniil Medvedev won against Karen Khachanov at the Monte Carlo Masters. Jessica Pegula won the Charleston tournament, which was an important win for her. Novak Djokovic is still one of the best players in the world. Football news included talk about the future World Cup. The boss of North American football does not want the 2030 World Cup to have 64 teams. He thinks the plan for 48 teams in 2026 should happen first. In the European Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona moved to the next stage, the semi-finals. Paris Saint-Germain lost their match 3-2, but won overall 5-4. Barcelona won 5-3 overall but had some problems in their second game. The famous German player Thomas Müller might leave Bayern Munich. He could go to Italy or the United States, or maybe stop playing. In England, Liverpool player Mohamed Salah signed a new 2-year contract. Arsenal's Kai Havertz is getting better after an injury. The Tottenham manager is unhappy because team news is getting out. Football star Lionel Messi plans to play in the 2026 World Cup. 8. What happens next? April 2025 was a busy month around the world. Many important things happened in politics, money, nature, and science. These events show us how different parts of our world are connected. We saw countries trying to build new relationships. For example, the United States and the United Kingdom talked about making a trade agreement. The leader of the UK also visited Germany and France to discuss working together more closely. At the same time, big countries like the US and China continued to compete for influence in places like Africa. Money was a big topic. The US government put new taxes, called tariffs, on goods coming from other countries. This caused some problems. Later, the US president decided to stop some of these taxes for 90 days. China also put its own taxes on US products. In places like the UK, people worried about prices going up, which is called inflation. Companies that move goods around the world were worried about these changes too. People in different countries also faced problems and spoke out. In the UK, there were discussions about government money given to help people and questions about taxes. Young people in Nigeria protested against their government. Sadly, a very bad situation continued in Sudan because of war. In France, there were attacks on several prisons. Elections in some places showed that many voters were not happy with their leaders. The environment faced serious problems. In the UK, brown trout fish are in danger because rivers are getting warmer. Warmer weather also meant more rats appeared in cities. Scientists found tiny plastic pieces in people's bodies and linked them to health problems. Even in the Amazon rainforest, birds were dying unexpectedly. There were also plans in England to use less land for farming. But science also brought some amazing news. Scientists got closer to making a very heavy new element, element 120. New technology allowed people to see very small parts inside computer chips. Researchers looked at using simple lights instead of lasers in computers to save energy. Other scientists learned more about how the brain changes when someone is pregnant. And in a big step, scientists used old DNA and new technology to bring back animals similar to the extinct dire wolf. This science brings hope, but also raises questions about changing nature. All these stories from April 2025 show a world that is changing quickly. Politics, money, technology, and the environment are all linked. What happens in one area often affects the others. These events give us clues about what might happen in the future. Which news story from April 2025 do you think had the biggest impact?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.